Hi, so today we're going to go over creating bookmarks and buttons in Power BI Desktop. Bookmarks in Power BI is a feature that allows you to capture the current state of a report page, including filters, slices and visual settings. This lets users quickly return to or share specific views of your data. Bookmarks are useful for creating interactive reports and presentations, as they enable you to navigate through different data perspectives seamlessly. In Power BI, a button is an interactive element that you can add to your report to enhance navigation and user experience. When used with bookmarks, buttons allow you to create dynamic and interactive reports. The examples below will show you how to set up a help overlay bookmark, which is used in the new template. I will also show you how to create a filter panel bookmark and set up buttons that allow you to open and close the bookmarks. So with your report open on the Canvas report, select the View tab here. So up here you've got the icons that you will need to see. So if we select Bookmarks and Selection pane, this is the order in which the canvas is showing you. So you've got your navigation icons here, and then we've got the visuals here. This is where you would add your new bookmarks. So firstly, I'll just take you through what some of them are. So with our icon nav bar, this is the icon filter. So this one will either go to a filter page or be your filter panel button. Here is the home icon. As you can see at the button, this will navigate you to the home page. This button is for self-service, and this is the help button. This is where we will create our help overlay. The icon nav bar always needs to be at the bottom, so this is the bottom order, and then our visuals will need to be above this. So firstly, we're going to group the visuals. So if you click on the first one so it greys out, and then hold down the control key and then select the other items, you will see that they now have grey boxes around them. So you want to right click and select group. And then here you can see this has gone above the layer order of the nav icons. So if you double click on group 1, you can name it something more meaningful. So I'm just going to call it content. So now we have the right order of things. So now we will create our first bookmark, as this is the default state that we would like it to be. So just select add, and then select on the 3 dots and untick data. This is always works better if you untick data, because it keeps the data state, and then it keeps filters in mind and stuff. So always untick data, and then you can rename it to something more meaningful. So I will call this SPC contacts. And that is our first bookmark. So now we're going to set up our help overlay for the page. To do this, you would head to the developer training site, and at the documents at the bottom, you would use filters and generic help overlay for new template. And then if you open it in desktop, I find that the functions are a bit better if you open it in desktop. So we have many options of pages here available. Just remember, when you've finished doing your text box and editing it, just close it and don't save it. It just makes it easier for everyone. So I've already written out what is going to go on the help overlay page. These boxes are generic, so they can always stay there, and then just update this middle box. So what you want to do is get your select button here at the top, and then select selection pane. And then you can make sure that your layer order is correct. So with this in mind, you want to press Ctrl A, so all of them highlight, and then just go right at the bottom there, and then right click, and then save picture as. And then we can just name this SPC1 contacts. And then that has saved an overlay that we can then put into the report as the help overlay. So now we want to bring it in the image. So under insert, we would select image, and then search for our image, and then select open. And then we just want to drag it slightly. It doesn't usually need to fill the whole page, so we just play around and drag and drop it a little bit until we kind of get the arrows a bit closer. about there. Okay, so now we've got our image resized. If we head to the home page and then we go to the help overlay section that's already set up here, we then just select on the close help, because this is the buttons that will help us, and then we copy those. We head back to our page and then we just copy and paste, and then we drag this up. So we want the close help buttons to be above the image, so then you're able to close them. So if we just drag those, kind of center them, and then we've got our close help button and our image. So what we want to do is group this with the close help. So select it so it grays out, and then press the control key and then group them together by right clicking and then group, and then we can just call this close. So then that is our image that we want to create the captured state of the contacts help overlay for. So with this setup, we just add another bookmark, uncheck the data, and then just name this SPC contacts HO for help overlay. Okay, so if we go back to contacts, you can see that now it thinks that both of them are the same bookmark. So to make sure that this is correct, select back on SPC contacts, and then we just want to hide what we've just done. Then we go back to SPC contacts and then we select update. So now this one should be correct. And if we go back, we now need to unhide and then update it. So now if we switch between the two, we have set both of them up. Now with our selection order, we always want to make sure our help overlay is the top layer and our content is underneath it. Otherwise the order will be wrong and the images will show over the help overlay. So we've got the order correct. Now we need to set up the buttons. So to do this, we want our help overlay button to be selected, so it's got a grey box around it, and then under the action we want to select the drop down, and then under bookmark we choose the help overlay that we've just created, and then now that one will be our bookmark. So if you hold down the control key when you're in desktop, you don't need to do this in the live environment. Hold down control and then click the button, you can see the help overlay works. So now we want to set up the buttons to close it. So we select on it so it grays, we do the X first, and then under action we want to change it from the home where we've copied it from, and then change it to SPC contacts, and then we do the same for the other button next to it. So then now when we close it, it closes the help overlay. So we're now going to set up a filter panel. So to do this first, we would go to Insert and select Shape, and we can select a rounded rectangle. So we just want to drag it just to around here and drag it out slightly. So with that set up, we've got our shape as you can see in the selection pane. Now we want to click off the canvas, so then we can choose a visual. So we'll just choose a slicer. And then for this slicer, we're going to have it as our service line. And then just put a space in between, and that will be our service line. And then we want to format it slightly differently. So if we select on format, we can go to slicer settings, and then we can have it as a drop down instead. And then we can fit more in. So then we just drag that over the top. I'm not going to add every filter just for time's sake, but you can do your formatting options. So if we just go to values and background, we can change that to be white, and then we drag it out a little bit, make sure you can see the service lines, and then as you can see the shape is underneath the slicer, but when you click off it kind of changes it. So you can format it if you want to have an effect. If you want to change any of the other things, you can have a virtual border. So I'm just going to change that to white, and then you can kind of see it a bit better. So we've now got the first part. So I won't do all of the slices, this will just be one for the example. So now we need to have a button. So we need to be able to open and close this. So this will be our view filters, which will open this, and then we want to add a button so we can close it. So if we go to buttons, and then we can just choose a blank button, and if we drag it over here, we can then format our button. So you can go to style and action. This is how you will turn it on. So if we want to say turn on the text, and then we can just write here, change our font color to white, and this can be close filters, just to make it nice and clear. So this will be our default state of the button. You can do other things, so if we hover over it, we can change it to then go bold, so then it kind of makes it more obvious of what it's going to do. Right, so now we have our slicer panel set up. We want to add a bookmark, but first if we group these together, just to make it easier, so hold down the control key and select them till they all grey out, right click and then group, and then just name this filters. So now we want to add a bookmark, uncheck data, and just call this SPC filter. So now we have our default state of this bookmark. Now we've done that, we just want to make sure that for the other ones it's hidden. So we'll hide our filters for the help overlay and then update it, and then just check, yeah, so that one's fine, that one works, and SPC filter, we need to make sure we've unhidden that and then update it. So just check them all again, and that's fine. So now we have added the bookmark for our filter, we want to connect the close filters so it closes when we press the button. So to do that, we'd make sure we've got bookmark selected, and then we scroll down to the bottom and select SPC contacts. Now when we close it, it closes. So now we want to connect the button that opens the filter panel when we select this button. So click on it so it greys out, and then if we choose our SPC filter button, now when we open it, it shows our filter panel.